don't know how much this video, how much of this stuff you're going to see. I'm going to have to do a lot of editing because I'm just rambling on in this video, but I may not edit any of it. May just make it a long video that you got to suffer through, because this is the kind a lot of people are just going to turn this video off anyway. As soon as I held up this Bible, it turned some of my viewers off, I'm sure, and they aren't watching anymore. Where was I going? Oh yeah, I'm old. I'm old, and I read about an old man named Paul, and I figured he was probably about my age, but when I got to researching it, after I had this idea about an old man leaving a word for people that he cared about, and as he wrote an epistle, I'm thinking about, wouldn't it have been great if Paul had had a YouTube channel and he could have just done it the way I do it and just make a video and stick it out there. He'd have been great. It'd have been great to just be able to look at his videos and hear what he had to say about various things. And you've heard what he had to say about various things sometimes in my videos, because a lot of the things that he puts in his epistles I think's worthwhile to put in a video, and I'm going to do it today too. The Apostle Paul, and he was executed in prison. He was executed for doing what I'm doing. He was telling people about truth, about where to find it, about Jesus Christ. And you know what? Just the fact that I said that in today's world, March the 26th, 2024, in today's world, me talking about Jesus Christ and truth, and that you can find it here, can be called misinformation. In fact, misinformation is a reason for social media organizations or groups of people that control things and what you want to hear not allowing me to say that. They can say, that's misinformation, we're going to take that video down, he can't post that, that's not true, that's mythology or whatever. And that to me is amazing. Now, I've made other videos about truth, and I've made videos about truth without talking about divine truth, just talking about truth. Like the truth is important to me. I've made videos where I said I have rules in my family. My children were not permitted to not tell the truth, and if I couldn't get at the truth in a situation where I needed the truth about something that just happened, about what they were doing, when I couldn't get the truth to deal with, to make my decision about, to administer justice or administer a teaching, and I couldn't get the truth, they all suffered. One of them was telling me the truth, the other one wasn't. If I couldn't find out which one it was, then they both suffered because I couldn't get the truth. Because the truth was important to me. I was raised that same way. I was punished when I was a boy because my parents were looking for the truth and couldn't find it. And everybody that was involved in them not being able to find it got punished. The ones that were telling the truth and the ones that weren't. Because not telling the truth was something that wasn't permitted to happen. And I was raised that way. I raised my children that way. I tell my grandchildren the same thing, and my great-grandchildren. And they don't like it. The ones telling the truth, well, it doesn't matter, you can't tell this. The ones telling the truth and the ones not telling the truth say, that's not fair, I'm telling the truth. But truth is something that's very important. You can't make good decisions in life, and all of life is about making good decisions. So truth is important to me, and I've made several videos about truth. I think there's 183 videos out there. Go back and find one with truth in the title, and then there's others that I may put a list of them on the screen. I don't know. There's others where I deal with truth and how important it is to have truth. How important it is to know what's true when you're making decisions. To have information that's true and valid and accurate to be able to make a decision. I have made videos before about truth. In fact, there is a playlist called Hard Truth, and it has those videos in it. So you could go to my YouTube channel, look for playlist, pick out the one that says Hard Truth, and you'll get videos that I've made where I was talking about truth and how important it is to have the truth and how difficult it is to get the truth. So right now I'm just going to read a list of those videos. Pancakes, a meal bin, and the truth from Ruth. That's one. Another one is Sunday morning number 16, teach the children. A third one is the truth or consequences. A fourth one is the cold, hard, elusive truth. And a fifth one is great social and political import. And I don't know what the name of this one's going to be, but I'm going to put it in that same playlist, Hard Truth. The Hard Times Chronicles, that's the name of my YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to it, subscribe to it. When I aggravate you, then you can unsubscribe. Doesn't cost you a thing. Subscribe to the channel, Hard Times Chronicles. In that channel, there's a playlist called Hard Truth. And the videos I've made where I emphasized truth and how important it is are in that playlist. One of the places that you can find truth is here. Now, I'm going to tell you something else. And I think of all the Baptist preachers that I've sat and listened to in my life, and all the Pentecostals and the Methodists and all different kinds of non-denominational preachers. They'd probably all go nuts to hear me say this, but you can find stuff in here. You can find stuff in here that you can't tell what's true. You can't determine which side of it to come down on. And a skilled person arguing can take this book and use its words in a twisted way to convince you that something that isn't true is true. That can happen, even with this. So you have to want truth. You have to dig it out. You have to pursue it and test it and settle for nothing less than it. You say, boy, that's hard. It is hard. It's hard in today's society. I want to read you something in this book. I'm in the second epistle to Timothy. 2 Timothy, chapter 3, beginning with verse 1. This know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. Now, I don't know whether this 2024 is the last days or not. I don't know that. It sure does seem like it. And there's lots of Bible scholars and religious leaders that'll tell you, yes, we are in the last times. But I don't know that. I don't know that. There are people who thought we were in the last times because of this scripture and this book and things that they saw happening around them. And I'm going to illustrate something in a minute when I talk about this other book. They thought they were in the last times, and that was like 1,500 years ago. They thought they were in the last times. 2,000 years ago, they thought they were in the last times. And yet, here I am, 1,500, 2,000 years later, saying, I don't know. I don't know when the last times are, but I see a lot of things going on in my lifetime, in my world, in the place that I live. I see a lot of that going on right now. So it says, perilous times shall come. Men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying the power thereof. And then he says, after saying all that, from such turn away. Try not to get involved with those people is what he's saying. He's talking to a young man here. This is an old man writing a letter of encouragement and trying to teach him something, trying to give him information that he needs to do what he needs to do. Timothy, the young man that Paul's writing to, he's saying, don't get involved in that. That stuff's out there. Don't get involved in it. That's what he's saying. Now I'm gonna skip over the next part of this. There's a lot of other stuff in there. It's all good. Read it yourself. 2 Timothy chapter 3. I'm going to get over here into chapter 4 because this is the point I actually wanted to make. Let me see if I can find out where it is. Yeah, let's read it along here and you'll hear it when I find it. He says to Timothy, I charge thee therefore before God and the Lord Jesus Christ, who shall judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. He's saying Jesus Christ is coming, and he's gonna, when he gets here, he's gonna be the judge of those that are alive and those that are dead already. He says, Timothy, preach the word. Be instant, in season, out of season, reprove, rebuke, exhort with all longsuffering and doctrine. What he's telling Timothy is, these people need the truth. They need to hear the truth. And he says, I'm charging you, Timothy, to be that person that brings it to them. Verse 3. And this is what I was wanting to get to. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables. I think that's all I'm going to read to you from Timothy. But I want you to understand what that last part that I just said, because that gets us, we are there. He warned Timothy that the time was coming when people would only listen to things that they already agreed with. They would only listen to things if it was what they already believed. It was their doctrine already. It was their agenda, not anyone else's. And if someone tried to tell them the truth, They didn't want none of it. They didn't want to hear it. They wouldn't even listen to it. And that is just exactly where we are today. Where do we get our information from today? Well, we get it from television to some extent, and to newspapers and radio and news media. And for the last probably 50 years, television and newspapers and radio were where the bulk of our information came from. Today, not so much. Today, more so from social media platforms. And I don't have one with me right now, but I do own one. I own a cell phone. I don't carry it around with me. I don't look at it all the time. I use it to talk on the telephone. If I want to talk to somebody or text somebody, I want somebody to know something, or get some information from them, I might use my telephone. I don't use it for all that other stuff, but I do sit in front of my computer or sit with my laptop in my lap and scroll through social media information. I do that. That's where most of the information comes from today. But for the last 50 years, and to a great degree today, television news, cable network news, major network news, and social media is where we get our information. And if you think truth was hard to come by in Paul's time, and he was envisioning a time when it was going to be more and more difficult, man, try to find the truth now. And the thing about it is, people don't even want to know the truth. I have friends. If I express an idea to my friends and they disagree with my idea, do you know what one of the first things they always say to me is? You've been listening to, and then they mention some news source. And it doesn't matter what news source I'm thinking about right now or what news source they say, because it's the same answer from my friends on either side of an issue. My conservative friends say, you must have heard that, and give me some media source that they think I've been listening to or I heard that from. And my liberal friends say, my God, you're listening to that crap on, and they mention another news source. And the ones on this side of the issue can't begin to listen to the ones on this side of the issue that are providing information, and it's the same thing over here. These people can't listen to this side of it. And you know what? Can't find the truth doing that, because there is no... I told you that this is the source of truth, and I even told you that someone trained to argue can take this and lie to you with it. So when you got this and you actually believe there's some truth in here and you're willing to dig, you still have to be careful. You have to really want the truth. But when you're depending on social media to find truth, and you won't even listen to half the issue, you have itching ears, you're only going to listen to your side of it. I know that person is going to give me the other side. Not going to listen to it. Don't say that. Misinformation, misinformation. They're lying. It's hard to find the truth. And I'll tell you something. Anybody that acts like I just act, I don't care which side of the issue on, they're justified. Because both sides of the issue, the liberal side, the conservative side, and even those that try to stay down the middle or say they do, they lie to you. They lie to you. All of them do. They present their side. They have an agenda, and they give you information to support their agenda, to tear down their adversary's agenda. This video is not going near like I intended for it to when I started out, but can't think of anything I just said that not helpful. Just that don't know how you're going to get the feeling that it's helpful when what I've indicated to you is things just keep getting worse and worse. So let's go back to this. I told you that you can find truth here if you want to.